Okay, we're about to begin our town hall, so for those that are in the narthex and interested, please join in. For those of you who are online, welcome. And this town hall will not only be live streamed, but it will be available via archive. So for those who aren't here and who aren't online right now, you won't hear this, but we'll communicate the fact that you're able to view this after the fact. So welcome to this, our, second town hall meeting, which we as a council have committed to conduct every quarter to hear what you think and to share any news that we need to with you and get your feedback. So people were asking me, is there an agenda for this meeting? Yes, essentially that's it. It's an open agenda. It's a forum for give and take, for sharing of information, questions, concerns, to keep a dialogue going. Because we all know, though we have a website, we have a newsletter, we have emails that go out, really the best way to share information and to communicate is face-to-face. So, again, welcome. My name, I think you all know, Jay Liska, elected president of our council in July. Very honored to have that position at a very important time, as all are, in the life of our congregation. So let me see Pastor David coming on. Before we get into our dialogue today, I wanted to remind everybody that this is Pastor Appreciation Month. Well, wait till you hear what I have to say before you applaud. For me, at least, it's hard to believe, I suspect Pastor Dave would argue, it's hard for me to believe that Pastor David has been with us for only a little over a year, less than a year and a half. He came in June, July. But in that relatively short amount of time, he's brought a number of new and innovative ministries to us. And I started to, in my mind, go through the things that we've seen in the last year plus, and it was a pretty long list. So rather than trying to commit it to memory, let me just share some, but not all, of the new ministries that we can thank Pastor David for. There is the Faith and Foam, which we've heard about. Once again, the first anniversary of that's this Wednesday, where we talk about challenging faith topics, Faith and Foam. For those that participated in it, there was the Taizé Easter worship services that Pastor David ran, as well as the peasant soup and bread services that Sarah Jean ran during the Easter season. Pastor David has initiated a Luther House Bible study and worship service, as well as planning a service of remembrance on All Saints' Day. He kick-started an interaction between St. Michael and the Habitat for Humanity, which we're going to continue in conjunction with social ministry. He made our facility here, our wonderful facility, available to CACs for their immigrant adult education program, a 13-week program in which adults learn some of the skill sets that they need to be successful in our society, as well as he reached out to some of the local schools to say that, God forbid, we ever need a safe house. As we heard today, thank goodness a false alarm, but should there ever be a need for students to evacuate from elementary, middle, or high school, we're the closest, best place they could be. And again, that's thanks to David's outreach there. He brought to us the Faces of Christ conversation, the different imagery of Christ, symbolic, metaphoric, if you will, for what Christ means and the way he's seen by by many different peoples. Cinema for the Soul started, and there's another Cinema for the Soul scheduled for later this month, brought Sam Luffy to our congregation in a very dramatic and inspirational conversation about his faith journey and how he's contributed to his community. Upcoming, Voices of Faith, which will be occurring next Sunday after service. I mentioned the Service of Remembrance, as well as the planned mission trip to Guatemala. So, you know, I've lost count. There are a dozen or more. Raise your hand if you participated in any of these new ministries in the past year and a half. Most of us, many of us at least, you know, participated in these. So, you know, as well as these new ministries, Pastor David's has reached out to the Synod, you know, as we had Pastor Karen with us, you know, today, evidence of that, as well as increasing his presence in our homes through his pastoral care and visitation. So it's been a very busy, almost year and a half, Pastor David. We're blessed to have such a faithful and creative leader for our spiritual journey. So, you know, for this, we thank you. So. Quite a list. Thank you again. So with that, wanted to start off by sharing some important news with you and then ask you for your questions relative to the news or any topic on your mind. And I received a few through internet and through conversations too. So if you're uncharacteristically shy, I have a few things that I could share to jumpstart as far as questions or comments. So again, I want to ask Lanny Lewis to come up and share some news and, you know, keep you informed about what's going on at St. Michael.
Good morning, everyone. I was that other guy that came before him, but if you weren't here, my name is Lanny Lewis. Certainly, as your president, and then now as also a continued member of council, one of the most important things we have in our stewardship at St. Michael is to attend to the needs and well-being of the property as well as the building. And a little over a year ago, we determined that we would do a potential need assessment of what kinds of things were going to come next for St. Michael, its property, its building, and then how we were going to come about making these things a reality. So in May of this year, we asked one of our very competent congregants, Matt Dickens, to do a complete inspection of the property, which took him about several weeks to complete. But from that inspection of the property, it was determined that after 25 years, some things needed to occur to make St. Michael more, how should I say it, watertight and less vulnerable to the elements. From that report, I took the liberty to invite 5 or 6 contractors in to give us their opinion on what it was going to take to have those things completed. And then we are in the process right now of culling down those 5 or 6 reports to come to some consensus on, number one, a baseline so that everybody is bidding on the same thing in terms of repairs. And then number 2, we have the right person in terms of their flexibility and their adaptability to work with a large number of people at St. Michael. So we're mainly talking about stucco here. We are talking about some issues that relate to stucco, which is leakage around doors and windows. If we don't have the correct flashing, we need to have that. And they're gonna make it right. We're not looking for a fix. We're looking to take us into the next 25 or 50 years. So Jay, do you want me to go into any more detail in terms of the finance?
I mean, just at the highest level.
Okay.
How would we fund, this is an expensive project.
Yeah. We're not talking about hundreds. We're not talking about tens of thousands. This is going to be an expensive project. So we have some options. We have some reserve funds, which we could most likely use some part, some portion, or all of it. We can make a combination loan and use of reserves funds, or we can do assessments, special assessments, having a, repair the siding campaign, that kind of thing. So we're going to look to you to give us that feedback today and ongoing. Apart from that, anybody that is certainly interested in this kind of activity and helping us coordinate with the contractors as well as get a better idea of what everybody is expecting. We don't necessarily have to put stucco back on. There is cement siding. There's a lot of options that we have. So if anybody has that interest, please reach out to Jay or me or anybody on council. Let your voice be heard, and we'll certainly appreciate any help on this project we can get. Any questions in particular? Dick?
Are you looking, excuse me, are you looking at $1 million or $1.5 million? What's the range?
The question is, how much money are we talking about? I will give you a range of what the quotes were, Dick, in fairness and full disclosure. The high end is definitely, in my opinion, after 25 years in real estate, a real number, but the range is 100,000 to 500,000. Our aim is to reduce that number to a workable number that we feel is prudent and gives us the best results. And it may be that we, limit it to probably, I would say, under 250. But that is, as you well know, being homeowners, you hire a contractor, he says it's going to be $10,000 to fix it. He starts taking off this and that, and he finds another $10,000 worth of damage. So I hope that answers your question, Dick. I think that's about where we are. Any other questions?
I'm relieved.
Yeah, Stephen?
And I guess it's still just at a general level for an entire meeting. So that I know there have been issues with synthetic stuccos, I think around in the 90s, and in this area you see a lot of houses where the skin has completely removed versus synthetic stuccos. Is that the same issue? That's why you're talking about a different material perhaps? And also, has there been yet an inspection for mold behind that for water intrusion? Because that kind of gets to the what's the exposure for extra costs?
Okay, so the question has two parts. Are we talking about using a synthetic product, which is in the stucco family? And then the second part is, have we already started looking at the possibility of water intrusion, mold, getting behind it? The answer to the second part is yes. When we did the inspection, we specified what we call deep core analysis. So we actually, I wish Maddie were here to talk about it, but anyway, you drill in through the siding, you get a core out, and then you measure the moisture content inside that drilling. Now, we haven't had any what I would consider to be really severe issues with that, but until the stucco comes off, we don't know. And what we're trying to say here with alternative siding, stucco's not the only solution we have. There's a product called Hardy Plank, which is cement board. It's like a clapboard siding, and that's also an option. In the past, Hardy Plank was the high-end solution, was the most expensive. But with the way stucco's being applied now, and it takes 4 or 5 steps, that means every time they do one thing, they have to come back later, and that adds cost, not mechanically, but from a workman's perspective. So something like Hardy Plank in the areas where you don't see the church, and stucco in the areas where you do see the face of the church, might be a reasonable solution, but no decisions have been made.
I mean, can you explain it's not the whole exterior? It's not the whole exterior of the church, it's just certain areas, right?
It is not the whole exterior of the church. A building like this, the face would be over $1 million. It is in the areas where, number one, the brick and the stucco meet. If you all take a very close look at our facility, you'll see we have dissimilar materials. That has a tendency towards getting leakage, and anytime you have leakage, you're going to have wood rot. Some of the other areas that I can cite for you the most dramatic moisture level readings that we had in the whole building were on this wall right over here where Ryan and the choir have their music room. Now, that was really bad. And then any place there's a hole in a wall, around the window, around the door, those areas tend to leak too.
I was here when the original oblong building was placed. So, are there issues with that part of the building as well? That part of the stucco? The original building?
Question is, are there any problems on the original building? And you're talking about the classroom area?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
The original sanctuary, multi-purpose as we first built it.
Yes. There's a lot of windows over there, Christy, and any place there's a hole in a wall, if it hasn't been flashed properly, and even if it has, 25 years ago, they did not do what we do today. So, yes.
Was 40 years ago.
Yeah.
The building was 40.
Yeah, yeah. What we're trying to do, folks, is not kick the can down the road on this. We are trying to address the problem head on. Where it needs to be repaired, it will be repaired. Where it needs to be replaced, it will be replaced, so that we get another 50 years. Technology has changed dramatically since the year 2000 in terms of stucco. You'd be amazed, but I don't have the time or the inclination to tell you what's different, but it's going to be a well thought out, prudent analysis, and then we're going to go about the business of protecting St. Michael from the elements and mold potential and that sort of thing. Yes, ma'am. Ooh, well, what is the guarantee on what we're trying to do? Every one of the, I would say, 3 of the 5 that we contacted said that, we shouldn't have any problems going 25 years. Again, that's a maintenance issue. When you say we're going to do something, there's some maintenance going on around it, like caulking around the windows, being more prudent or being a better steward of the building than perhaps we were when we thought the building was brand new and everything was honky-dory. Until I actually went around with Matt and some of these other folks, I didn't see where the problems are. There are problems, and we're going to try to fix them. But beyond that, there's no guarantee as to how long it's going to last. Again, if you have interest, and we want to hear from you, Otherwise, we're going to be forced to make the decisions. Just let us, okay, Mr. Wonderly.
Striving by getting a $250,000 bill all of a sudden. I would hope that it to be done on a program, ordinary way. I don't know how to do this, but I know from my past experience, if you plan on these things, it should be a part of the current budget. And it should be just not a one-time thing for $250,000. Second thing I'd like to talk about is Carolyn and I have been a part of an interesting thing is that Messiah was a church in Downingtown. They just discovered Chris Bonds last year. And it was just about last year, shortly after Christmas, a little committee came to us from Messiah and wanted to know how to do it. And it seemed that church was hit by a terrific flood that the aisle of the church, pews floated down the middle of the church. That's a real problem. And so, Synod magnanimously gave $250, $2,500 for the care of this, barely covered it. It certainly didn't even make a dent in their concern. And I think St. Michael's, as a sister organization, should be reaching out to these people and helping them in their problem, their situation. We talk about leaks here and there. They're talking about flooding coming down. And they're already this Christmas to have their own Christmas tree with Christmas lights on it. And they're also struggling though to cover some real problems. And Carol and I personally made a contribution to their need. I don't think we should comply. We look at the nation and the conservative system church. We heard a little bit about community law church today. I know the struggles here, but I think keeping it at least aside in our prayers and our contribution would be really considered.
Thank you, Lou. And for those on the live stream that didn't hear Lou, his comments were, and hopefully I get this correct, Lou, that, we should, and I believe we do, put aside money in a capital reserve every year for that proverbial rainy day. And it's starting to rain, as you've heard. We have about $100,000 in our budget annually for building and property, but that's for everything. We have a capital fund as well, which we used recently, I think, for HVAC machines. But so there is, financial stewardship, Lou, but, like everything else, lots of uses for money and never enough. So Lou's second comment was with respect to helping out sister churches in the area. I think we heard this morning that we, are helping out or hope to help out the Oxford community with a coat, hat, and glove drive. And I think, Lou, now bringing this to our attention, that's something that we should pray about and probably do as well. Pastor David, if you want to.
Is this Messiah Downingtown? Yes. Messiah got a multi-million-dollar grant from FEMA. They're building a brand-new church. It's a beautiful church. They got $1 billion from the United States government to do that because of the hurricane that destroyed the church. But they're in good shape. FEMA took care of that.
So again, they don't have Christmas though, other than thanks to you and Carolyn. FEMA can't provide that, but it sounds like, there is, as there always is, some, money someplace. You just, well, this, Lou, through Luther House, you just have to find it. So, yeah, no. So the two things I want you to take away from Lenny's discussion is that we need to decide as a church how to fund this project. Okay, and there's again 3 sources. We can get a loan, just like you at your home. Get a loan. You can take it out of savings, which in our case would be unrestricted reserves, or you can ask family. I've never found asking family for funds has been particularly useful, but a capital campaign, is another source of funds. So, what combination of loan, unrestricted reserves, and capital, the Finance Committee will come forward with a proposal. So that's one thing, and we'll share that with you and see if you agree, because it's our money, not our money. The second thing is, as Lanny said, we'll look for people to provide some input on design. We want to keep this beautiful church, this facade, beautiful. And everybody has their views about what beautiful is. So if you have an eye for design and interested in what the outside looks like, be it stucco, hardy board, or something else, again, please approach Lanny. Not only is he Vice President of Council, but as he said, he's the Chair of Building and Property. So those are the two things. We'll come forward again, probably before the next town hall. How to finance and how to face the building. Both really important decisions. And we'll keep you informed along the way. Yes, question? The question is, what kind of an interest rate? As you probably are aware, interest rates are historically high, right now. So that's Finance Committee will look at, does it make sense, for us to take out a loan at 8, 9, 10%, I might guess, but I'm not a finance guy, because interest rates are, 4, 5, 6% now. Or does it make more sense for us to take the money from unrestricted reserves and or a capital campaign, some combination. So again, Finance Committee, as Building and Property, will be working on our options, and before they make a decision, we'll share the options and our recommendation with you, to get your feedback. Important topic for us, a lot of money, some disruption. This would be a project that would take several months, lots of scaffolding and the like. So we didn't want you to show up Easter Sunday and find scaffolding on the church and wonder what went on. So again, wanted to keep you informed about what we're doing and get your feedback as to how you think we should do it. Lou, again, Lou and Lou.
I know past meetings, the condition of the air conditioner was the question was, do they need to be replaced? And at that point, somebody did say they have to be done. Have those air conditioners, was that air conditioner part of the repairs?
Yeah, that,
And this 3 years ago, and we haven't done anything since then. Why?
We did three large units this year.
Yeah, three of the units were replaced, and that came from the capital fund, Lou, that we've been, squirreling away. So it wasn't an appeal. It didn't come out of otherwise the budget. Yeah. Right. Right. Yep. As you know, the problem with stucco is, a piecemeal approach is difficult. So the time is right now to deal with it before the whole church, needs to be redone. Well, Lou, first Lou, then Steve, you. Lou? Yeah, the contractors told us that they're available to start in the winter. They can work through the winter, and certainly no later than spring. So again, once we make the design decisions and the financing decisions, which should be in the next month or two, then we're ready to go to select a contractor and get the work started. Steve, and then Barb. Yeah, Karen and I had our house done, and many of us have, and so these folks interestingly can and do work through the winter, and really year round. So yeah, Yep. And again, no decisions made with regard to materials yet, Barb's, but that's again a conversation for the design committee with your input. No, we don't want hardy board. No, that would be fine. Those are the kind of decisions we need to make. Steve?
How would you prefer to get feedback? What's the best way to apply that process and feedback? Would you prefer email or
Well, again, what we're trying to accomplish through the council is to make sure that our committees, if not make decisions, at least make recommendations for everything that we do. So Steve and everybody else, any thoughts, any recommendations, any concerns you have with regard to building and property, Lanny and Karen are on that team. Matt Dickens is on that team. Paul Kester is on that team. Ed Schultz is on that team. But again, keep it simple. Go to Lanny or Karen on any issues with regard to this. Bill?
Other than the church building, are there other major items that you're looking at?
Yes. Again, back to good stewardship. And given the fact our building is 20 years old, the septic system needs to be redone. That's a relatively small ticket item. Relatively small, meaning on what, a scale of $8,000 to $10,000. Not insignificant, but not anything on the scale. So that's a project that could begin sooner than later. But we also want to consider when we start the stucco project so we don't have too many things going on at once. Okay, Bill? And I think that's primary. Lanny?
See if this works. Everybody hear me? I also had people looking at the parking lot to address that need, getting it sealed, getting it lined correctly to be in compliance with state and federal guidelines for handicap parking and that kind of thing. We got 2 quotes in on that. They were between $9,000 and $12,000. The septic we talked about, and then some other things. I'm sure it doesn't go unnoticed that we need some new material up above there for the grill. So we are going to get someone to assess that, and just everything we can in general that's showing wear and tear. We want to make it right.
So Steve, you raise a good general topic with respect to conversation and feedback. So as I mentioned, we're trying through the council to run through our committees because the committees are expert at what they do, at least through experience over time. So as I mentioned, Lanny, Karen, heads of the building and property, Mark Swanson, as you hopefully are aware, is the chair of Worship and Music. So Worship and Music, questions, issues, concerns. Your first port of call is Mark. Rick Hunnicky, Social Ministry. Again, so Lou, for instance, the topic that you raised may be addressed by FEMA, maybe not, but with respect to something like that, that may be a social ministry topic. So Rick Hunnicky, and I'm just trying to call out the people that are actually here. Jess Wilson is on social ministry as well. Michael Rittler is in the back, but any technology issues, you can't see it, you can't hear it, it's not clear, you don't like the website, Michael Rittler would be the person to talk to there. Pastor David, of course, is a member of our committee, and as I say, I head it. So any questions you've got, you don't know where else to go to me. What I'll do then is send it off to the appropriate committee head, but those are the people that are here that if you have questions, concerns, ideas, they're the people that you should go to first. Don't tell your buddy out at the coffee pot that you don't like this, that, or the other thing. Tell the person that can do something about it. Lou? Yeah, thank you, Lou. Who said 25 years ago when we built this sanctuary, where we started to build Luther House, where we grew our congregation, was the golden age, if you will, for St. Michael. You know, I don't think anybody here certainly feels that the sun is setting on St. Michael. Hopefully it is in fact a new day, and we have opportunities, you know, like Luther House, like building a facility, you know, to take forward. But it's again going to take the people in this room and others, you know, to make that happen. So thank you, Lou, for you and others for your service. You built the foundation, literally, of this place and Luther House. You know, we need to maintain it and hopefully add an addition here and there. Thank you. So there were a couple questions that came in over the course of the last week. One of them, which was communicated through the weekly newsletter, was with respect to the caring shepherds. So the question came in, you know, why are we retiring the caring shepherds? And what we have tried to communicate is that the caring shepherds has been a wonderful ministry for many years. Many of us have very close contacts with our shepherds. You know, we're their flock. That doesn't have to change. Okay? That doesn't, and it won't change, because these are your friends and they're people that look out for you and you look out for them. So the retiring of the caring shepherds is a formality. The continuation of those relationships and that support should go on where it exists. The other communication point that was made is that we now have other means as well to care for one another. The Stephen Ministry is one of the most obvious ones and the most significant of those, but not the only one. We have rideshare, we have food, meal preparation and availability, we have prayer chain, and we have other things. So we are not solely dependent on caring shepherds, and caring shepherd relationships should go on. So that was, you know, a question that came in, why were they retired? They don't have to, they can, just like me in retirement, they can stay as busy as they did before, but we want to make sure people recognize there are other options. And for those that don't have caring shepherds or don't have a relationship with caring shepherds, be it Stephen Ministry, rideshare, food service, prayer chain, there are other means. Oh, and let us not forget our pastor. Okay? So that was one question / comment that came in. The other one, interesting, was very timely, because it was, why are we sending all this money to the Synod and where's it going? Again, the timing couldn't have been better to have Pastor Karen with us, you know, because we heard that today. At least we heard that at second service. So for the first service people that didn't have the benefit of that presentation, I took a few notes, and you'll forgive me if I can just reiterate where our dollars go. They go to support a summer camp, a Lutheran summer camp for inner city youth. They go to help support Muhlenberg College, Lutheran college locally. They support the care and the maintenance of military pastors around the world. Campus ministries to maintain Lutheran contact there. Adult missionaries, and again heard that we sadly are bringing back or redeploying 5 missionaries, you know, in harm's way in the Middle East. They support a food cupboard, homeless sites, mission churches, and other things. So I'm sure our dollars also go to support something that you don't believe in. It's just like our taxes. You know, not every dollar of my taxes that I pay, I wish the government would spend the way they do it, but they do. But on the whole, you know, I think that my taxes generally go to support important things. I think generally our contributions to the Synod, you know, as we heard this morning, you know, go to very useful causes that most people support, but not every cause that everybody supports. So I get that. Okay, so that was the other, I'll call it more of a comment than a question that came in. So those were the two things that I heard this week. We talked about building and what we need from you, guidance on finance options, guidance on design. We talked about the caring shepherds. We talked about our synod contributions. Other topics, that questions, concerns, ideas, we're doing great. We'll take them all. Anything else? I know the time is moving on, and I really appreciate the fact that you here and on the internet take the time for this, because it's so important. Email will never accomplish this. The website will never accomplish this. Constant contact will never accomplish this. Real work, real progress happens, with the give and take. So, I'm committed, the council is committed to make sure that we keep an open dialogue with you, because it's our church, not the council's church, not the committee's church. But that's how we govern and administer things with your help. So if there are no other questions, comments, at least today, we'll meet again quarterly, and we're here every Sunday. We'll be happy to take them. Pastor David?
Just by way of comment, in terms of the idea of communication, so I'm always really happy and overjoyed to meet with people. I love meeting with people. If you ever want to meet with me, typically my office hours are Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 9:30 to 12:30. However, very frequently I'm out and about with visitation, people from other clergy doing any number of things, so I may not be there during the hour, but all you have to do is email me, call me, send a phone, text me. I'm more than happy to meet with anyone at any time. So always know that the lines of communication with me are open at any time about any subject. So please feel free.
Thank you. And for the people on the live stream, what Pastor David was saying, that he is accessible, to us when we have that need. Generally office hours, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9:30 to noon, but things come up, emergencies and opportunities. So, if you want to see Pastor David Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning, best to call ahead, email ahead, confirm an appointment, but, he's available. And I think Pastor David's demonstrated through his pastoral care and visitation, he is more than happy to interact with anybody, particularly in times of need. So please take advantage of that. What we don't want is Pastor David sitting in his office at his desk waiting for the phone to ring when he could still better be spending his time out doing God's work. Okay, with that, Pastor David, it's again a bit impromptu, but could you come up and maybe just close us with a prayer, if you would? And again, thank you for the folks here. Thank you for those on the live stream. It's also archived. We'll let people know about that so they can take what they will from this discussion.
So let us pray. Gracious and loving God, thank you for this day, this opportunity to gather as your people. We thank you for the gift of word and sacrament. We ask you to bless this congregation of St. Michael, those of us here, those who could not be here. Continue to help us make the gospel of Jesus Christ the center point of our life, how we view all things. Bless and strengthen us as we move into the future. May we be faithful to the mission of Christ in all things. Bless us as we go forth, that we may be Christ for the world and recognize Christ in all that we meet. We offer this prayer to you not on our own, but in his name, Jesus Christ, your Son. Together we say, Amen.
Thank you. Have a good rest of the day. Thank you.